We are live.
Do you remember 2001? It's kind of crazy to think back. Like, that was a significant event, of course, in world history, 9/11. Um, but I mean, I remember when 9/11 happened, I only heard about it because of people calling, and we didn't go online. We went to the television, right? We went there to find out what was going on. It seems like forever ago. Tweeting was reserved for birds. I would say,
Yeah,
that's for
that's
the
right.
birds. I would say probably less than, you know, 5, 6, 7% of non-online businesses had a website. A lot of online businesses did. The dot-com bubble had, it kind of already burst. And I just remember thinking back, like, 2001 with the internet. I lived out in the country at that time. I lived in the middle of absolute nowhere in North Carolina. And so we still had the I can't make the sound, but connect
The
to the
dial-up.
internet sound.
Yeah.
And then
You
I
got mail.
remember it was 2002 when we moved. I say we moved to the city. We moved to a town of about 6,000 people, but we lived in town and we got DSL, if anybody remembers what that is. And and you no longer had the picture that went like this to load, and it was so awesome. It was like, I have DSL. I can do anything, I can download a song in less than 5 minutes. I remember vividly with dial-up internet going to bed. You go like at 10 o'clock, 10:30, you go pick like the 30 songs you want to download, and then you go to bed, and then you come back, and then they're downloaded. Maybe you might have like two or three that are still straggling.
And that was so cool. That was cool, actually.
Oh my gosh. I remember the first album that I bought online, and I bought the album online, and I had to download it. And it was literally like an all day process. I remember like the first one downloaded, and I finished listening to that song, and it was another 15 minutes before the second song downloaded. So it took me like 7 hours to listen to the album. That would never happen today, of course. You just stream them. So here's the question. Is it possible that what was true about online business then is still true today? I started my first online business in 2002, about a year after 9/11, about 9 months after 9/11. And so much has changed since then. So I would love, drop a comment. Let me know, like, what's something that you remember from 2001 related to the internet? Kind of one of those, like, date yourself a little bit there. Hey, Luke, and hey, Angie, date yourself a little bit. But what we're going to talk about today is something pretty cool. We're going to talk about the fundamentals all the way back to 2001. My microphone's it's like possessed. It's just moving. I'll just leave it like that. But we're going to talk about those fundamentals in online business and how much they don't change. Like, the more things change, the more they stay the same. So, Alan, welcome.
Hey, glad to be here. Glad to be here. I was thinking when you were saying that Y2, remember Y2K?
I do.
Oh my gosh.
I remember we purposely, so I was in college and we did not go out because we were genuinely scared. Like, I wasn't like terrified of this, but we were genuinely scared the traffic lights wouldn't work at midnight. And so we were like, okay, you take New Year's Eve, combine it with all the drunk drivers, and then the traffic lights don't work. It's utter chaos. And so my roommate and I were like, we're hosting a New Year's Eve party. We're like, whatever damage is done to our house, it would be worth the, having like a couple stains on the furniture to not have to leave the house. And so we ended up doing kind of small. We had like 20 people over, but we had a New Year's Eve party only because my roommate was genuinely terrified that the traffic lights were going to stop working at the stroke of midnight, and like people were going to be dying left and right.
Oh, it was a real worry. That obviously that was a year before 2001, but 2001 was like, oh gosh, we made it through 2000. So
yeah. So Lauren still has DSL. I didn't know DSL still existed. I'm being honest, I didn't know. Yeah, I mean, I have a friend of mine that lives out in the country, and they have like satellite, and I make fun of them because his internet's really slow. I'm like, hey, can you upload this video for me? And he's like, yeah, I'll have it done in 2 hours. I'm like, 2 hours? It's only a 45-minute video. That takes like 30 minutes, you know? But anyway, so guys, if you know somebody who would benefit from today's lesson, hit that share button, share it with them individually, shoot them a text, whatever it is, you know, post it on your timeline. Super appreciate that, and get the word out about today, because we're talking about 20-year-old online business advice that's still relevant today. This actually comes from one of my wife's old business books from college. All right, this is this book was published in 2001. So I'm guessing it was probably written in 2000. And it's, you know, it's all about, it's just general business. So it's like supply chain stuff. Just wondering if maybe like some people need to read that now. That section might or might not be relevant to literally every single person in Washington, D.C. Just throwing that one out. So there's just like, you know, there's supply chain stuff, there's hiring. It's all this stuff, right? Kind of like the typical business book. And there's this section on entrepreneurship. It's like about 1/14 of the book is about entrepreneurship. This is how niche the internet was back then. That in this huge textbook, I mean, this textbook is, you know, probably bigger. I mean, it's bigger than this. You know, this is the E-Myth Mastery here. It's bigger than that. This huge textbook. Half of a page, there's one of those little call outs. Like 500 pages in this business book. Half of one page is about online business. Like, can you imagine writing a book that had like basically relegated the internet to 1/1000th of the book these days? Like, that would just be weird. That was the extent of their lesson on the internet. So this little tiny section, it's one of, you know, if you can just picture it, right? The whole rest of the pages are white, but this section is like dark gray and it stands out. And this little section packed a punch. And so it offered some tips for online businesses. Now, again, this is 2001, probably written in 2000, you know, 20, you know, some odd years ago, right? It's amazing when you consider that, and I'm quoting here, it stated that web-based businesses were, quote, still in their infancy. So you just to kind of paint this for anybody under the age of 40 here, there were no smartphones. There's no Facebook. There wasn't even MySpace yet. Mm-hmm. There was no thing. We didn't know what the social media was. What the heck did that mean? You know, most of the tools that we think that have revolutionized the business world, you know, we're recording this on StreamYard. Stuff like that didn't exist. That was 17 years in the future. Slack didn't exist. Gmail didn't exist. None of this, I don't even know about Google. Was like, I forget exactly when Google started, but it was like right around the corner, right? It just started or something like that. You know, eBay was still the most visited website in the world. Apple was, I just don't even think Steve Jobs was back at Apple yet. You know, like this is so long ago. And the simplicity of the advice in this book is what makes it still relevant today. This is why I love it. It's like today we're talking about how to simplify our online business. We've had all these innovations. You can use all these tools. You can do Zaps with Zapier. You can have, you know, ads with Facebook, and you can use this tool to check your social media, and you can, you know, do chat, and you can do bots, and you can do all this. You can do all the stuff, but how do you, you know, how do we keep it simple? That's actually number one that we're going to talk about. This was the number one thing that this book said about running a successful online business. Number one, keep it simple. All right, keep it simple. So, and I'm quoting from the book here. Don't require your visitors to download plugins or software to interact with your website. Don't require you remember, I don't know if you guys remember, like back when you go to a website and it would say you have to install Flash. Do you remember that, Alan? You had to install Flash to view the website. I don't know if anybody even uses Flash anymore, but all the stuff just comes pre-installed. When's the last time you went to a website? It's been, I can't even think. And I'm not talking about broken images or, hey, Robbie, I'm not dissing Zapier. I'm just saying it wasn't around back then. when's the last time you went to a website? And again, broken images, broken links. That's totally different. Where it was like, you have to install something, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really happen anymore. So here's the thing. The same rules apply. Don't use graphics that are too large. Yeah, people got fast internet. We are just talking about that, right? You got fast internet. We got, retina displays and stuff. We got 5G we have 5G in Fort Wayne now. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we already had the second fastest data in the country. I don't know why. I've never learned why Fort Wayne has really fast. Our mobile internet, when I'm
Mm-hmm.
driving down the interstate,
Mm-hmm.
my internet on the interstate and on the back roads in Fort Wayne is faster than most people have in their homes in the US. I don't know why that is. But despite all of that, you still don't want images that are too high res because it just takes too long to load. Newsflash, if you didn't know this, when you're talking about SEO, right? Search engine optimization, your rankings on Google, site speed, your load speed, your page load speed is one of the number one factors. So if my site loads faster than yours, and we have pretty similar other ranking, other factors, right? I'm going to rank higher than you. So make sure your site's easy to use on mobile. A lot of people, we work on our computer. And so we design our funnel and we look at it and we go, this looks amazing in Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
What about the magic rectangle where 50% of the people are accessing your website? Did you at least take a moment to go, that image doesn't work on mobile. That text is too dark on that, in mobile. So we have to think about those things. We have to keep it simple, right? We want to make a good impression in 5 seconds or less. So number one, keep it simple. Number two, provide value. All right. This is what content marketing is all about. The phrase content marketing didn't even exist back in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
But they said, provide value first, ask for the sale later. This is 2001. Still true today. My first site I built in 2002. You basically came to my website. My dad and I ran a golf instruction company. And you came to my website and you did one of two things. You gave us $2,000 to $3,000 or you left. Now, thankfully, I learned how to run ads really, really cheap. Just for the record, nothing I'm about to share is replicable today. The strategy I used back in 2002 does not work in 2022. It didn't work in 2010. But it worked for a couple of years and made me a lot of money, and that was great. It got me kind of the entrepreneurial bug.
Mm-hmm.
But we'd run these ads that cost about 10 cents a click. I would only convert about a half, maybe upwards of a percent of people. So let's just go with a 0.5%, 10 cents a click, $20 to acquire an average, $2,300, $2,400 on average customer.
Wow.
That's really good math. I love affiliates, obviously. And I got to be honest, I could never imagine paying an affiliate that little amount of money. That is not doable today. But you came to my website and we would sign up an average of, 2.5, 3 people a day for these golf schools. I was 22 at the time. So, making $2,000, $3,000 a day was pretty freaking awesome, and you came to this page and you had two choices: sign up, which in our down season was just under $2,000 for a golf school, or in our high season it was $3,000. So you either gave us $2,000 or $3,000 or somewhere in between, or you left the website. There was no opt-in. I didn't give away a free report. No one, because even I was so dumb back then. If you bought from me, we didn't even follow up with you and try to sell you into another golf school like 6 months later. I mean, duh. You paid me $3,000 in April. Hey, how about or you paid me $3,000 say in July. I mean, immediately I'm like, oh my gosh, if I had just sent them an email in January saying, hey, do you want to come to a shorter golf school? You want to come to our 3-day tune-up school instead of our 5-day school? And it's only $800. I could have made so much more money, but I didn't even know that. So I didn't even have an email list. If you bought from me, I got to be honest, when you left there, other than maybe 2 of the students that we we kind of just headed off and we ended up becoming, they lived closer and we exchanged Christmas cards and stuff. I don't even know who you are. You left I was like, see, I'm never going to talk to you again. How dumb was that? Right. But we want to provide value and build the list. They were talking about this in 2001. Nobody was doing it back then, and it worked in 2002, 2001. But this textbook was spot on. So make sure you're providing value first, building relationships first. Reciprocity, right? We're building up that reciprocity. All right, number 3. Really, reciprocity is just a fancy way of saying build value, provide value first. Number 3, make buying easy. When people want to give you money, don't make them jump through hoops. Make the buying process as easy as possible. So we make the order form as short as we can. All right, we make them click the option so that they're not clicking from a drop down when they go to the order form of the possibilities. Like they're telling us on the front end, nope, I want this version. I want this payment plan. Do we want to know all their information? Like, do we have to collect their address for purposes of verifying the credit card? Of course. But do I want a bunch of boxes on there like click here to sign up for updates? No, I want the transaction. Now, if you're talking about a $7 purchase and you want to add a box that says click here to get updates about our future products, go right ahead. It's a $7 purchase. But on more expensive purchases, I don't want to add anything that prevents them from doing the one thing I need them to do, which is click the button to buy. Mm-hmm. So make buying easy. One of the things you need to do to take, to kind of take away their fears is good sales copy, right? Copywriting is key. Probably about 10 years ago now, I got serious about learning how to write great copy. And so I studied it. Most people think copywriting is like some sort of magic act, right? You're either born as like a dark art that you just were born with. You inherited, being a good copywriter. The guy who was really good at English class, he's a good copywriter. It's the dudes I knew that were like barely C students in Miss Sisson's English class that had so much red ink on them. You thought that they used their English paper to wipe up blood at a fight. Those are the people that became good copywriters, not the people who could write perfectly good grammar. I mean, the people I know that are great copywriters were C students in English, but it's a skill that anyone can develop. Copywriting at its core is a skill that anyone can develop. That means extroverts. So I know many copywriters who are great. They're really extrovert. I know extreme introverts who are great copywriters. I know people who are quote unquote born salesmen that are good copywriters. I know people who suck at sales. If they had to get on the phone with you to sell something, you would be, if they would be buying something from you by the end of that call. That's how bad they are at sales. But they're great copywriters. They got techie people. I know stay-at-home moms, engineers, CPAs, all the boring people, right? I know high D's, high C's, high I's, high S's, INTJs, E, whatever the Myers-Briggs ones are. I know people on all 9 of the Enneagrams and the Colbys, cool kids, nerds, doesn't matter, right? The jocks. Mm-hmm. Anyone can learn how to be a great copywriter. And simply put, copywriting, this is what Ray Edwards says, is sales in print. Copywriting, simply put, is sales in print. We're just using persuasion. It's written persuasion, right? So we're leading people to go from point A to point B. We're causing them to take an action that's in the best interest of both you and the other person, the other person part being the key, right? That might be to buy your product, sign up for your class, click read more, take a test drive, download the book, just go buy this affiliate offer, doesn't matter, right? Whatever it is, you have to persuade them to take action. And a little known fact about human beings is by nature, we don't like to take action. We are going to conserve our energy. It's evolutionary. And I'm not necessarily, I'm not going to get in the whole like Darwin versus creationism thing. That's not what I'm talking about. Human beings have evolved. And there was a time when human beings had to chase their food to get it. Mm-hmm. But if the gazelle, whatever the meat was coming from, the elk came over, plopped its little butt down in front of the caveman and, allowed them to just eat it, you think the caveman was going to get him and go, well, that's interesting, and then run off and chase a deer? No, he's going to be like, sweet, dinner. It's a survival mechanism, I guess. Like, so that until we're persuaded to take action, that's when finally the force of taking action outweighs our desire to do nothing. That's the thing. That's when we take action. That's what good copywriting does, right? It overrides our evolutionary defaults. So study it, practice it, keep learning how to get better. If you're looking if you're looking for a good place to start, go grab this. Go grab the. Get it to come down here. Normally, it doesn't have another book inside of it. That's how I get it to stand up. Now I got to figure out how to get this thing back up there. Go grab the Ultimate Affiliate Swipe File, right? Ultimately Affiliate Swipe Files, or no, affiliateswipefiles.com, right? If you go there right now, in fact, if you just cover the cost of shipping there, it's like, less than $10. I'll send it to you for free. Just cover the cost. If you don't like it, then we're not going to charge you a cent. If you love it, and you have 30 days to go through this whole thing. It's got tons of my best emails in it. I think, what is it, 192 pages. 192 pages of my best emails. If you love it, then we're going to still charge you less than, half the regular price, right? Also, the one of the things that's going to help you learn copywriting here, this is one of my favorite parts. If you flip to, let's see here we go. So this email here, for example, is an email that we sent promoting Jeff Walker's product launch blueprint. And so we have the email in here so you can get inspired by that. But then if you flip to the next page, you'll see this. You'll see, watch a video walkthrough of the previous email. And in that, it gives you a URL there to go to. I walk you through that email line by line. So I tell you in this email why we chose that subject line, why we chose that phrase, why we chose to format it that way, why I chose, the PS to be that way. What's the psychology that led them, here, 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 and here, right? So I walk you through in this book. So if you want to learn copywriting, and you need to learn copywriting, this right here is a great place to start. I'm going to flip that cover over just because it's kind of shiny. So here's a little tip. Sorry. So one of the little tips that I learned years ago, if you're really struggling to come up with copy, so let's just say you got to promote a webinar. You go over here, you go right back in the back, and you look up the word webinar. So it says webinar. We'll flip to page 50 and 51. I mailed about a webinar. There's 20 webinar emails in here. I'm going to go to page 50, and I'm going to look at this email and get inspired. And one of the things, I'm going to find an email. So maybe it's on page 55. This is crazy. Okay, cool. This gives me an idea for an email. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a pad of paper, and I'm going to handwrite the first few lines of this copy. So I'm going to literally handwrite word for word what you find in this book. Eventually your brain will start taking over and writing really good copy. It's just a little copywriter's trick I learned. So go to affiliateswipefiles.com, grab a copy of this. Again, just cover shipping right now. You can read all the details on there on the page. I'm telling you guys, it's worth every penny. And if you order it while we're live here, I'll even sign it. Do something fun. To figure out how to get my hands on those. But anyway, all right, number 4. Thing number 4 that we found, again, these are principles, right? These are timeless principles. These are from my wife's business book back in 2001 that are still true today in business. Display security certification, be secure and show it, is what they said. Now this goes almost without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. If people are going to buy from you, make sure they know it's secure. All right. So if you've got encryption certificates, security certificates, make sure they're on your order pages. Make sure they're on your website. It's so easy. Most of like I remember back again, 2004, we had to go buy the certificate and then download a thing and install it on the site. And it was like a pain in the butt. Most of you are using WordPress, or you're using ClickFunnels, Kajabi, something like that. Right? It doesn't matter, any of those. They've got those built in, easy to display. So just make sure people know your website's secure. That's a big thing. Make sure you install an SSL certificate on your website. I don't know about your host, but with us, it was as simple as clicking a button and then clicking another button. And it took us like 42 seconds. I mean, that was it. So whatever you need to do to get a secure website, make sure your website is secure. That's another thing where when Google's ranking sites, my site's secure, yours is not. My site loads fast, yours does not. I'm going to rank ahead of you all day long. Because if you think about what does Google want to deliver to their customers, if they come to the search listing, so they searched for I don't know, whatever, how to grow hydroponic tomatoes, and you're there and I'm there, and people click to your site and it loads fast. They click to your site and it's insecure. They're getting an error message or something. Why would Google continue to put you above me? No, they're going to put me above you because they're not getting what they want from you. So they're actually going to move you to like page 42, and I'm going to be in that number 1 spot. Number 5, post a privacy policy. Very simple. Post a privacy policy. If you do not have your privacy policy listed, you're missing out. Nobody visits it. I looked at Google Analytics a while back, and we had like 42 visitors to our privacy policy. It was like 0.07% of website traffic went to, like, there's not that many people. But if someone cares enough about your privacy policy, they're likely interested possibly in subscribing. They're likely interested in buying. And so they're thinking, I want to make sure he's not going to sell my information. The other thing is just having that link at the bottom of the page gives people a warm fuzzy. Hey, they have a privacy policy. Great. Never going to read it, but they've got one. I think, you've got to have one to even run Facebook ads today. You've got to have one to be able to run most ads. So make sure you have one. There are generators you can use. Just look up privacy policy generator. You can probably do it for free. And if not, you'll pay like $20. Just pay the $20 and call it a day, right? So any concerns that people might have about doing business with you, make sure that it addresses and make sure it's clear, make sure it's easy to read. Number 6, be accessible. I mean, this was back in 2001. They're telling online entrepreneurs, be accessible. Worst thing you can do online is be unreachable. You are not a Kardashian. All right. You are not, no offense to anybody watching. You're not a Kardashian. You're not the CEO. You're not Tim Cook. All right. You can be accessible. So make sure that it's easy to contact you or your team. Okay. So I know I've gotten busier over the years. It's hard to necessarily interact with me. I don't have as much time, but it's easy to get me. It's just going to be that it might go through my team where like somebody tweets me and I'm not the first person who sees it. And so my team knows how to respond to 4 of the 5 messages, but the one they don't, they come to me. It saves me from having to go check all 5 because I might not get to that for 4 days. So give them multiple ways to contact you. So, as simple as a contact form on your website or an email address, give them, ours is support@mattmcwilliams.com. If you bought anything from us, it's support@mattmcwilliams.com. We make it really easy. We don't try to hide that, right? Give them your social media contacts. Use something like SpeakPipe. Most of the pages on my website have a little floaty, leave me a message tag. So you can basically leave a voicemail for me. If you go to asktheaffiliateguy.com, asktheaffiliateguy.com, you can contact me there. If you go just to mattmcwilliams.com and you click on connect with me, there's connect or connect with me. I basically have every possible way you could connect with me. Every social media network, everything. How do you, I don't know, carrier pigeons. I mean, probably if you reached out to me by some other method and said, I'd prefer to communicate via carrier pigeon, my team and I would probably find a way. You can text me. Literally just, anytime, 260-217-4619, you can text me. And I'm the one who responds to those texts. Just as a side note, that is the one thing that I'm the only one that has any interaction with that. So if you actually text me, you're dealing with me, not, my team. So just be accessible. Give people multiple ways to contact you. Does it need to be every single way? No. But, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, 2 of those 4. An email address. Give them the opportunity to text you, things like that. And then when they do, number 7, respond quickly. This was one of the keys back in 2001, 21 years ago, right? When people do contact you, make sure that you respond quickly. I would say for us as a company, we have a rule. It's 24 business hours max. So if you email us, you contact us Monday at 3:00, by Wednesday at 3:00, you're getting a response. Usually it's going to be, if it's before noon, it's same day. If it's afternoon, it's probably going to be next morning. But typically, within 20 hours probably is our average. But definitely as a rule, 48 business hours. Now, you text us on, you message us or email us on Friday afternoon. It might be Monday before we get back to you because we don't work weekends. You email us December 23rd at 4 p.m. It might be December 27th, depending upon how the calendar falls. But just make sure you respond quickly, right? Timely responses make people feel important. They make customers feel important. They feel served, and it makes them want to spread the word. So you're going to grow your business. The number 8 piece of advice they gave back in 2001 in this business textbook was get it right the first time. So they were specifically referring to like orders, right? You go online, you place an order, and I'm going to mail you this mug, right? Well, it doesn't have a lid on it. Well, that kind of sucks. Make sure you have the systems in place to get orders right. I want to serve our customers with excellence. That's the key. So when you get the first buying experience right, people are more likely to buy from you again. I remember very vividly back in 2006, late 2006, early 2007, we hosted, so I was running a company that we sold leads to insurance agents. So home insurance leads, auto insurance leads, things like that. And we wanted to do kind of a focus group with 10 or 15 of our agents. So we brought them to Nashville. They were different size agents. Like some of these guys were guys that spent, $50,000 a month. Some of them only spent, $1,000 a month, but they represented different cross sections of our agencies. And let's see, Lauren, real quick. Sorry. Can you please post the URL of the swipe file? It's actually right above. Should be right above. I know Alan posted it in the chat there, but it's affiliateswipefiles.com. See if you can see that above there, Lauren. So anyway, we had these agents come, right? And they came to Nashville. We wined and dined them for, a night. Then we made them sit in a conference room for 6 hours the next day. and the next day for 2 days. And I remember this one guy, he was like raving about us. He'd referred, half a dozen agents to us. He's just like a raving fan of our company. He was one of the testimonials on our website. And the first day he's like, yeah, I love how you guys do this and keep doing that. And, he made some suggestions. We get to the second day after lunch. And then he's talking about it. And in the mid sentence, he goes, now that I think about it, I haven't closed one of your leads in quite some time. And I remember going, oh, awkward. Basically, the message was, I haven't had a lot of success with your product in the recent history. So why did he rave about us? Why did he keep referring people to us? Why was he a testimonial on our website? Because his very first experience with us was positive. And it lasts. The old saying, right? You never have a second chance to make a first impression. You can't, not in business. There's too many other options. I know, and this happens. We have stuff that's broken on my site. All right, we're in the process of fixing it. Very little is broken, but there is stuff that's broken. We have one page that's, I think it's fixed by now. There's a broken link, and I hate that happened. It was one of those things. A landing page company that we work with changed some stuff on their back end. It broke it. Is there anything that we could have done about it? Really, no. We fixed it as soon as we knew about it. But that means that about 10 people or so over the course of a couple of days had a bad first experience with my site. And I know I've probably lost them forever. Now, the good news is that it probably, on some of them, it wasn't their first experience. 6 or 10 of them, that was, and they're done. But 5 or 7 of them or whatever, I'm making these numbers up, I don't really know. Some of them, their first experience was they listened to 4 podcast episodes and they visited 2 blog posts and they downloaded another thing. This was their 7th experience, and they've had all positive ones. And they went, "Hey, your thing's broken. Can you send me the right link?" No big deal. Because that first experience, the first podcast, the first whatever was positive. So as much as possible, get things right, especially with orders. I'm like, speaking of this, right? That Lauren was just asking about. When you order this, I am like, I don't know if OCD is the word I'm looking for. That's probably not. I am.
That's the word.
Like, I have OCD tendencies, just as they're very subtle, and they're.
You like details.
I do have some, but like I am like irrationally like we have to get this to them now. The reality is, if I take it to the post office today at 4 versus first thing tomorrow morning, it makes almost no difference whatsoever when it's going to get to you. And the truth is, as much as I think this is a great thing, if you get it 9 days from now versus 8 days from now, it's not going to be a life-changing day. I'm just being honest. Like, I think it's good, but it's not. That's not going to be like the end of the world. But I want to get it right the first time, and so I do. I'm just kind of irrational about those things. Like, I'm like, sometimes it's hard. Like, I know with our team, like, no, it has to be perfect, and they're like, you say done is better than perfect. Okay. Not always. Perfect is better than perfect.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you tell your students all the time, done is better than perfect. I'm like, well, that's for them, not for us. We're going to be perfect. And I'm half joking and half not. And so just get it right. Get it right the first time. All right. The 9th thing you got to do, again, all the way back in 2001, they're talking about this. Keep track of what's selling and why it's selling. So they were specifically, they're quoting, all right, if you have inventory, this is critically important. You can't just run out of something. All right. Now, this applies to non-inventory, right? Like, the running out of inventory is bad on so many levels. If we're going to run a promotion, 50% off, you only have 800 of them left and you sold them in an hour. Maybe you should have done 40% off and not sold them so fast and made more money. Or maybe you should have put a thing on that said only 1,000 available and kind of like shut the sale down when you were down, to about 10 left. I don't know, just an idea there, right? That's so bad on so many levels. But if you don't have inventory, you need to know what's selling. Why is it selling? When you're promoting affiliate offers, what's working? Hey, I promoted these 3 affiliate offers, and they're all similar offers. One's $500, one's $1,000, one's $5,000. And I sold 20, 10, and 7. Okay, so 20 at 500, that's $10,000. 10 at 1,000 is $10,000. 7 at 5,000 is $35,000. Now, this is an easy question here for y'all. I'm going to ask you. You can put it in the chat and let me know the answer. Would you rather make $10,000 or $35,000 for pretty much the same product, serving your audience in pretty much the same way? I don't know if that's like we got to think about that one. Now, there are things to think about with your own products. I've sold things at a lower price to get more customers. Years ago, company I consulted with, they had a practice that leading into Christmas, their price raised from $147 to $197. And I was like, why? He said, because it's in more demand. They said, okay, so have you studied what that actually does to the conversion rate? And he said, well, conversion rate goes up. Well, of course it goes up. It's that time of year. I said, have you actually split tested? He said, no. Like, do me a favor, just run a split test. I'm like, there's a 50-50 chance I'm wrong. But then we'll know. So we ran a 147 versus 197. The 147 sold like 27% more. And it was right in the wheelhouse where technically the 197 in the short term made more money. But I said, you have 27% more customers. 27% more customers. We make an average of $58 per customer on the back end. So what's 20? What it was like. So it came down to. The math was he made an average of like, per visitor of like 4 cents more at 197 immediately. But on the 147, he made an average of 6.5 cents more long term because he had more customers. And that wasn't even including the fact that now he has more customers to potentially promote affiliate offers to and other things. And he didn't even have that many offers at the time. We developed more offers with them. So every customer became worth more. And so it all came because we knew what was selling and why it was selling and what price it needed to sell at. So you got to know that stuff. Which of your offers are actually working? Which of your downloads, which of your free offers are working? You have a free report that does this versus a webinar that does this. And you look at it and go, well, they have about the same conversion rate, but the webinar gets 5 times more sales on the back end. I'd probably go with that one. Or hypothetically, like we're talking about bonuses, right? Well, sure. If I offer a bonus that every time, if you buy this product, you're going to get 5 hours of free coaching from me. That's going to convert really well. That's a $12,500 bonus for a $2,000 product. But I got to spend 5 hours. I can't scale that very well. So I got to know though, like, could I have offered 20 minutes of coaching and gotten the exact same number of sales and spent 1/15 of the time? So you need to know your metrics, know your numbers. That's super important. So know what's selling and why it's selling. Number 10, you got to build a support network. The book said, again, 2001 to online business owners, build relationships with other web-based entrepreneurs. I just love that web-based entrepreneurs. Like, you know, we're going to, what was it they called it back then? Information highway. Information highway. Like nobody uses that anymore.
Super highway. Information super highway.
Super highway, yeah. Build relationships with other web-based entrepreneurs. Guess what? It's true in 2022, y'all. It's going to be true in 2042. It's going to be true in 2082. And when I say relationships, I don't mean your Facebook friends. You know, one of the biggest temptations when you start a new online business, right? I don't have to be in an office. I don't have to listen to other people. There's no water cooler. I mean, I've worked in offices, and for the most part, I'm pretty introverted, but I like being in small groups of people, and I like talking. I like, you know, catching up with people and talking about the game last night. And I love, you know, gathering in a crowd to, you know, one of my favorite times working in an office is the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament in March, when, you know, inevitably one person says, oh my gosh, Belmont's about to beat Duke. And the whole office comes over and watches the last 2 minutes of the game, which of course, as you know, the last 2 minutes of an NCAA tournament basketball game lasts about an hour. You know, so we come over, nobody's getting any work done. I remember 2008, Tiger Woods and Rocco Mediate, you know, the playoff of the US Open. I think that playoff cost our company $50,000. I didn't get anything done for 4 hours, and neither did just about anybody else. Like, we were trying to get stuff done, but it just was not happening. I remember that, like, we would have meetings, you know, during the ACC tournament. And I'm like, I got like the, you know, the game on, like, we had a big company retreat. One of the leaders of the company. And I literally made sure that my seat at the table, because there's a conference room and then a bar, and they had the Wake Forest Georgia Tech game on in 2006, ACC championship game. And I'm sitting like this. I didn't hear anything anybody said for, you know, we had all agreed that we were going to break for the second half because I really wanted to watch it. And so, you know, yeah, it was just like, that's the thing I love about being in an office though. Those type of things, right? The camaraderie and stuff. But we get out on our own and it's like, cool, I can get stuff done, right? It's so attractive to escape the distractions of the office, have time to focus, but you need a support network, right? And an online business is just like life. It's just like you can't go it alone. So meet with other marketers in your area. If you can, just, you know, meet with some other marketers, right? Meet with them virtually if you need to right now. Meet up with them at events. Go get coffee, you know, find another online entrepreneur or two that you can just get coffee with or eat lunch with. I've got my people online, but I've also got a couple people locally that we just, you know, we go get breakfast once every 6 weeks or so. I've got one where we actually, because he's about 2 hours away, so we meet halfway. Meet down in Gas City, Indiana, and we'll just, every so often and go to Cracker Barrel, and grab a bite to eat, and then we spend like 4 hours. It's just, you've got to have that support network. You can't go it alone. You need that support network. So being part of a support network, it's not going to only allow you to grow your business, but it's going to reduce some of that loneliness, especially that, I mean, so many of us are feeling right now. I feel it sometimes. I'm so excited. I'm 2 weeks away from seeing my family. So like my mom, my sister, and that side of, that part of my family, not my in-laws. I haven't seen them in 3 years. Literally, it'll be 2 years and 9 months since I've seen that part of my family, and I can't wait. It can be lonely right now. So, you got to have the support network. That support network is a big reason why I've started 4 different mastermind groups over the past 7 or 8 years. Like-minded people. They're other fellow entrepreneurs. I've done at different stages, right? I've started them, when I was beginning, it was a bunch of us who were all like sub $100,000 businesses. Then my next one was like people who were 100 to $500,000, $100,000 to $500,000 businesses. My next mastermind was like, high 6-figure and low 7-figure businesses. Now I'm in a mastermind with 7-figure business owners. And it has allowed me to grow so much faster than I could have done alone. Sometimes I get in on the mastermind and it's like, yeah, guys, I have this question. And they're like, yeah, dude, I went through that same thing 3 weeks ago, man. Here's what you do. Oh, okay. I had a big one. We're starting an agency. I know there might, I'll put it this way. If you are in the running right now, if you're watching this, any of the people who are in the running to be in part of our agency, the way you're going to get paid came from my mastermind group. So if you don't like it, then blame them. But I think it's really good because we struggled with how to structure a compensation plan that would incentivize them, to grow and incentivize them, to succeed when we succeed financially, but also not like, quite frankly, screw them over the first 4 months when they're not going to earn a whole lot of commissions. Because it's just, the commissions come later. There's like nothing anybody can do about that. You work for 4 months before we get paid by the client, and then, you earn a percentage of that. And my mastermind group solved that problem in less than 10 minutes. I think of one of the things, the process by which we created the agency, the process by which we kind of decided on how to structure some of the stuff came from a mastermind. So many things have come from my mastermind. And one of the things that they've done is not only have I been able to grow faster, but they've just constantly reminded me I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this journey. So I'm considering, this isn't a for sure thing. We've done a mastermind in the past, and but I'm considering starting another mastermind. Right. So online marketers who are looking to increase their affiliate income, their own sales, big thing, connect with other entrepreneurs, have those experiences, significantly grow their businesses over, a 1 year period. So if you are, and this is not, just to be clear, it's not for like beginners. All right. It's for people who, I don't have an exact range, but I'd say, you're somewhere in the neighborhood. You probably, you're doing at least $10,000 a year in sales. Might even go a little bit higher. That's one of the things I'm not sure of yet. And we can talk about that. But if you're interested in being in a part of a community like that, right, with other people who are in the same boat as you, they're making it roughly the same amount of money. They're having the same type of struggles, and you want to mastermind with people like that. If you're interested in learning more, just text me. I mentioned the number earlier, but text me at 260-217-4619. Alan's going to drop that in the chat as well. And just let me know. Just say, hey, I'm interested in your mastermind. That's all I got to say. And I'll put you on the list to make sure. I'll send you some more information once we have that kind of more fleshed out. But as we finish up, guys, I want to leave you with some action items. I want to leave you with some clear next steps here. Number one action item here. Just check your site. Make sure you're keeping it simple. All right. Do you have the security stuff on there? Do you have the SSL installed? Are you keeping it simple in terms of design, and are your images loading fast? Things like that. Just how do we keep our site simple? Number 2, become a master copywriter. Right, a good place to start. You mentioned it earlier. The ultimate affiliate swipe file, affiliateswipefiles.com. Lauren, hopefully you got your copy there. I know you're asking about it earlier. That's a good place to start. Become a master copywriter. I am not saying I'm the world's best copywriter, just to be clear. I'm not. But I'm pretty darn good. We've done pretty good over the years. So if you want to learn, again, this is a good place to start. Is this a master class in copywriting? Absolutely not. No. Those are thousands of dollars, but for, about $100 total. For $10, I'll send it to you, just cover shipping. And like I said, if you don't like it, if you flip through this and you read all these things and you go, I got to be honest, Matt, I didn't learn a dadgum thing from this. And this helped me in no way, shape, or form. Just email us and say that, Matt, this sucks. I learned nothing. This helped me in no way. We're not going to charge anything else. But if you love it, then you're going to pay half of what fair market price is for this. Okay. And all the information is at affiliateswipefiles.com. Action item number 3, commit to making it easy for people to connect with you and reply quickly. All right. We talked about that. Make it easy for them to find you, connect with you, social media, text, whatever. And make it a priority to respond quickly. If you need to put it in your calendar or your planner, spend 10 minutes a day replying to emails on social media. I just do it at the beginning of my workday. That's what I do. My very first thing I do when I log in the morning, I got this from Michael Hyatt. The very first thing I do is I reply to my team in Slack. Takes 3 to 5 minutes. Boom. Got all those out of the way. Next thing I do is go check my email. Is there anything that I need to reply to? And usually, my assistant's taking care of everything, but there's 1 or 2 emails, and I'll boom, knock those out. Or I'll record a video that shows him how to reply to it. And then I go check social media. That takes another, 5-7 minutes. So it's about usually between 12 and 18 minutes on the high end, depending. Like if we're in the middle of a launch or something, it might be a half hour. But I knock that out first thing in the morning. So nobody ever goes more than, this is not true. Some people go more than 24 hours because every now and again I miss their emails. And I make that mistake that we all make, right? Think I replied to somebody and I didn't, and then I'm having to apologize for taking a month and a half to respond to them, but whatever. But reply quickly. And then action item number 4, get a support group. I don't care what it is, right? No matter what it is, just get involved with some group of other entrepreneurs who can support you. They can encourage you. They can help you. If you're interested in our mastermind, again, anything, like if you have questions about today's lesson, questions about anything, you can text me at 260-217-4619. But I encourage you to just get involved with a group of people who can help you along this journey. It doesn't need to be lonely. Yeah, I work by myself. Right? Nobody comes down here other than when the kids come down to say hey, or my wife comes down to grab something or just to ask me a quick question. Most days I'm literally down here all by myself all day long staring at computer screens. It can be lonely. So if you need a group, maybe, the mastermind that we're thinking about starting might be a good fit for you. So text me about that. Like I said earlier, if you know anybody who would benefit from this, hearing these lessons today, then hit that share button, send them a text, share, email somebody, share just wherever, right? Let them know about this stuff. And then we are not going to be live next week. 1 week from today, about right now, I expect to be in line for It's a Small World After All.
You'll be singing it for the rest of the year too.
I'm going to have it in my head from Thursday, January 20th through approximately whatever the day of the week, June 14th is. I've actually got it in my head now. And so do you. All of you have it in your head. And I put it there. You're welcome. So quickly go open Spotify, Pandora, whatever, listen to something else, get that stuck in your head. But yeah, a week from now I'll be at Disney with the family. So I'm not going to go live. No offense, but I'm not doing that day.
Sounds fun. Standing in line. Sounds fun.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we're literally going on the least busiest week of the entire year. This is the beauty of guys, this is what I love about, online entrepreneurship. We also homeschool, so when can we go to Disney? Whenever the heck we want, and we get to time it when it's like the least busy. So That week's the second least busy. This week upcoming is the least busy week at Disney all year. The week we're going is the second least busy, I think. So we'll be there next week. Whatever, reverse that. I don't know. It's basically not going to be very busy. So we'll be there enjoying that. Then the following week I'll be. I think we're going to be live. I told Alan earlier. I'm 99% sure we're going to be live. It totally depends on the internet we get at the beach. So we should be live on January 27th. So just go ahead and mark your calendars.
If you're on dial-up or satellite, right?
2 p.m. I'll just use the old dial-up. I'll go to my old home in North Carolina and find dial-up internet and find like one of those discs, America Online.
Get them in the mail.
That one is called, we're going to bust some affiliate marketing myths. So 7 affiliate marketing myths destroyed. So we're going to do some myth busting that day. So just go ahead and mark your calendars, January 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm 99.9% sure we'll be live at 0.01% or whatever. Is just if we have really crappy internet. So, All right, guys. Yeah, again, you guys have any questions, text me anytime, 260-217-4619, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Sounds good. Tell Mickey we said hello.
I will.